What's it called? The Playbook? Welcome to the very first episode of The Playbook, a sports talk show with Mark and Tyler. He's Mark, I'm Tyler.
Howdy.
We got a couple things to talk about, seeing as the NFL is definitely underway, halfway through the season. We have a question, or I have a question. Who's the biggest surprise team so far? Player or team? Who's the biggest surprise?
Team-wise, I'd have to say the Minnesota Vikings, tied with the Dallas Cowboys.
Nice.
Nobody could have predicted the Cowboys would be 5-1 at this point with a rookie quarterback and basically Dez Bryant missing the whole season.
So what do you think of Ezekiel Elliott coming out of nowhere? Now, I know me for a fact. I know definitely me. I did not see Ezekiel Elliott being this good, or nor did I think he should have been drafted so high in the draft. Fourth overall.
As you stated since April, yes.
That's the biggest surprise in my eyes. But for me, it's definitely been Ezekiel Elliott, but also the Packers.
The Packers, how bad they are.
They can't win.
Right.
With Aaron Rodgers arguably the best quarterback in the league, they just can't. They can't win. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think the question is, what's wrong with Aaron Rodgers? I mean, his last 15 or 16 games, he's probably, statistically, he's been worse than Jay Cutler. So is it Jordy Nelson? Is it the fact that they don't have a run game anymore? Or do the Packers just stink?
I think it kind of shows that the Packers weren't really as good as they were a couple years ago. Well, I'm not trying to say that, but like a couple years ago, everybody thought they were a top team, and they always lost in the playoffs. I mean, granted, they won the Super Bowl a couple years back, but it kind of shows that the teams in their division are getting better, but the Packers are staying where they were. So it's like, are the Packers really that good?
I agree. I think it's similar to what's happening this year with the Panthers. I think the league has gotten used to how to stop that team. The other teams in the division especially have figured it out. And, you always have to change. I mean, that's the good teams change. They change the way they run their offense and their defense because every team does film study. So every team watches every other team play every week. So, but getting back to the Packers, I don't know. I think they have all the talent, I think, but they just can't put it together.
And it's sad, really, because, like you said, they have incredible talent. You just don't know. I feel like they need, as good as Mike McCarthy is, I really think they need a coaching change. I think him and Aaron Rodgers are to the point where they're getting tired of each other.
Wow.
I don't think Mike McCarthy should coach the Packers anymore.
Wow. That's a shocking statement. I don't agree with that.
So, talking about coaching fires, there's a lot of teams that have been really, 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 really bad this year. We got the Chargers, who haven't been that bad, seeing as all the injuries. They are 3-4, bottom of the division still, but they have been doing pretty bad. Mike McCoy doesn't have a great record as a head coach. We also have the Jaguars. Gus Bradley, I don't remember the last time they won a game.
Getting fired soon.
Hugh Jackson taking over the Browns. They're 0-7, 0-6, 0-7, 0-7. I don't think he should get fired, but the chance of him getting fired are insanely likely.
I think he got a raw deal with the Raiders. I thought he did a good job with them, going 8-8. And then when they fired him, I thought that was a huge mistake several years ago. I think he's taken over a team that, quite frankly, sucks. They have no talent on either side of the ball. I cannot believe they spent all that kind of money getting RG3 to come over there. The fact that he got injured in the first 2 weeks of the season, I don't see how that's a surprise to anybody. The guy's just not big enough to play quarterback in the NFL.
But when you think about the Browns, you got to blame that on the management. Because you bring in RG3, you know he's injury prone, but you don't bring in any other offensive linemen, which it's questionable, but it's like, what are you doing?
Right. Nor they didn't bring any receivers. They let Travis Benjamin go. They,
Josh Gordon's back in rehab.
Right, was suspended. Their best player on their team is Terrell Pryor, and Obviously, he can't throw the ball to himself, although maybe this week that's what they'll try to do. But they stink. But I don't think that's Hugh Jackson's fault, and I think he should be given a shot to try to build that team. But we'll see. I think Gus Bradley should definitely be fired for the Jags, though. I mean, he's had all the time in the world. I mean, I don't know. We have it down here. I think they're 20. He's 12 and 28 or
12 and 38.
12 and 38. Not as a Jags head coach. I mean, that's pathetic. I mean, he's a positive guy. I like him, but he can't get that team to win. He can't get that team to win. They get high draft picks every year and they can't win. So.
What about Chip Kelly in San Fran? He has a history of going 500 every season. And it's getting to the point, it's like he brought in a new system with the Eagles. It worked for one season. Everybody caught on. It wasn't different. And then he just doesn't. I feel like it was all the hype that made him seem like a good coach. And that Mike Vick, LaShawn McCoy, and Deshaun Jackson on the same team is kind of hard to stop. But, like, he's not really that good of a coach. He's not.
I think it's hard to judge one season with, or half a season with the players that he has on that roster. Again, not unlike the Cleveland Browns, that roster is horrible. So I'm not sure he's got the speed at the positions that he wants to have the speed at. So I don't know. Maybe the pro game isn't the right place for Chip Kelly. That might ultimately be the answer. I just don't think a quarter of a season or so is enough to judge with the team he inherited.
So how about John Fox, Bears?
That's an interesting question.
That is.
I think
he led the Broncos to playoffs after playoffs. But it's like it's one of those things like can you put it on the coach or Peyton Manning? That's or the defense. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I
think he's a good coach. That's another instance. The Bears just suck.
Yeah, the Bears. I don't know. I think the game may have passed John Fox by a little bit. I don't know. I think the jury's still out on that team. Also, they do have a lot of talent on that team. And again, that's another team that let go of a lot of talent. So you got to wonder what the GMs and the coaches are thinking when they release some of these players that
right.
Leave teams like the Bears and the Browns and the 49ers and go start for other teams, and they're all pro caliber players. So yeah, I don't understand that team either. That's another team with a history of winning, and they just can't win.
What about we'll go to New York. Talk about the Jets. Todd Bowles comes in. They go 11-5. They just missed the playoffs, which in my eyes is ridiculous. A team that goes 11-5 should not miss the playoffs at all. But they're 2-5 right now. Do you blame it on Todd Bowles or do you blame it on Ryan Fitzpatrick? Because I don't think Todd Bowles should get fired because of the play of Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick right now, 9 interceptions on the year?
Yeah. It's
ridiculous. I don't think Todd Bowles should get fired.
No, I again, another first-year head coach. Great pedigree as a defensive coordinator. Their defense, again, has had injuries, but they've been in every game. You just can't have a quarterback that throws 4 interceptions in a game and think they're going to win. You can't be a negative plus-minus every game. You just can't win football games that way.
It's ridiculous. But seeing as you're a Cowboys fan, Tony Romo or Dak Prescott?
At the beginning of the season, and we've had this conversation, I felt that Romo should, part of me wanted Romo to get a shot to come back. I did not expect Dallas to look so good with Prescott at quarterback. I think the offense that they're running with Dak Prescott is a much better offense than they could run with Tony Romo. So, that being said, his injury history, his age, and just thinking about the guy's life after football, me personally, I think he should really take a good hard look at his life and decide if football is really where he wants to be at this point. But I think that the Cowboys look to be a much better football team with Dak Prescott at quarterback. And I'm about as big a Romo fan as there is.
So I was thinking I don't think Romo is going to come back in this year. That thought is just out of my mind. Romo is not coming back this year unless Dak Prescott goes down, throws 4 picks in a game, which is I don't see it ever happening. I mean, he threw one interception. Was it last week? 2 weeks ago?
Yep.
It wasn't really his fault. It was he got hit from the bat. He got hit from behind. The ball came out. It was an interception that can't really be called an interception. But like the only way Tony Romo is getting back in the game this season is if Dak Prescott struggles or gets hurt. And even if Dak Prescott struggles, they have Jamil Showers who plays just like Dak Prescott behind Dak Prescott. So if Tony Romo is not 100% healthy,
Yeah, you got Bud Fumble back there too.
Yeah, and Mark Sanchez, but he's, I don't know.
No, he should never get on the field.
But you have Jamil Showers who plays exactly like Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott's a little bit better, but it's like Tony Romo doesn't really stand. I don't want to say this without being like disrespectful, but Tony Romo doesn't really have a place on the new Cowboys team. It's tough to say, but I would not. In the trade deadline coming up too, I would not be surprised if Tony Romo gets traded.
I
Heard it here first, by the way.
I would like to see if they do trade him. I'd like to see them get obviously an edge pass rusher, but that's obviously a possibility. I know they're shopping Sanchez. I don't know who in their right mind is going to want to trade for Sanchez or what they would get for him. You know, maybe a box of kicking tees or something, but. I just don't understand it. But Romo, obviously, he's a risk too, but he's got a pedigree. Statistically, he's been a great quarterback. I think a team like Denver's got to be interested. A team like the Bears.
Chicago, yeah. Cleveland, maybe.
I mean, I don't think Romo would last, a series behind that offensive line, though. There's a few teams that could use a quarterback. But we'll see.
So, talking about the trade deadline, you got any trades that you'd like to see coming up? I know I got a couple.
I'd like to see Shane Ray for Tony Romo. That would be a nice trade as a Cowboys fan.
I was thinking I would love to see Alshon Jeffrey move to maybe a team like
anybody but the Patriots.
To maybe a team like the Lions, or maybe for more help the Vikings.
Oh, that's an interesting.
It is interesting. I mean, that's just on my mind. Maybe Alshon Jeffrey doesn't get traded. Maybe he doesn't get traded to those teams. But there is a bunch of rumors about Torrey Smith wanting a trade, and I've done some research on what teams that would need him. You've got the Bears, we got the Chargers, you got the Dolphins. All those teams could easily trade for Torrey Smith from the 49ers.
And they're all in the playoff hunt, obviously, except for the Bears right now. But the Chargers are still in it at 3-4, and the Dolphins. Who knows what's going to happen in the AFC East? I mean, besides New England winning every year, but that's an interesting move. Alshon Jeffrey, I just can't see him traded within the division. I never understood trades like that. But I mean, Alshon Jeffrey to the Chargers would be huge. They could use another big, proven receiver.
Especially with Keenan Allen going down with the third injury in 3 years.
Let's switch it up. Let's talk baseball. World Series going on. Cubs down 2-1. Think that would happen against the Indians?
Yeah.
Really?
Actually, yeah. The curse is real. I don't see that.
The curse is real.
I don't.
They got shut out last night for the 4th time this postseason, which is unbelievable considering their lineup.
Yeah. They have a super team. They're literally predicted to win the World Series the next 2, 3, 4 years. Oh. And me personally, they just can't finish.
And they've been getting outpitched by the Cleveland Indians.
And is Lester is pitching Game 5 or Game 6?
Yeah, I think Lackey's pitching Game 4.
So Lester's going to be pitching Game 5, and if you have like these guys, he doesn't throw the bases. He doesn't throw the bases. Then you have Speecers on the Indians who can steal bases like it's nothing. So it's like if he plays Game 5, there's no way they're going to win Game 5 if he plays. Because their game plan is just going to get on base and steal.
Yeah, I agree.
And nobody's going to get out. Because all he does is pitch fastballs, and he doesn't throw to the bases.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they fall behind any further in the series. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
I feel like
they have a lot of pressure on them right now, playing at home down 2-1.
Yeah, if they lose this one, it's over.
And what about the ticket prices in Chicago?
Ridiculous.
I mean, 108 years since they've been to the World Series, and the cheapest ticket is $2,000.
I know.
And then they're charging $250 to go to the local bars to watch the game on TV. Come on, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous.
The NBA season started the other day.
Bless you. And the Golden State Warriors lose their first game.
Is that surprising?
Yeah. When did they lose their first game last year? February?
I honestly don't think that's surprising because you got a team that does layups, shoot three-pointers. They have a game plan. They don't have the defense that they had last year because you got Iguodala coming off the bench. I mean, he came off the bench last year. But Harrison Barnes and Klay Thompson playing defense on the same team. I mean, granted, you have KD and Klay Thompson, but in my opinion, Harrison Barnes
is gone.
I know, but in my opinion, Harrison Barnes is better defense than KD.
And he's just FYI, his first couple of games of the season, he's doing really well.
Yeah, he is. But you go against a team, against the Spurs who can shoot mid-ranges and play quality basketball. Right. And if all you can do is shoot threes, you're not going to win.
Yeah, that was surprising. I mean, they got blown out at home.
And how about John Simmons? That guy is for real.
Well, yes, we'll see. We're not, as Bill Parcells once said, we're not putting him in the Hall of Fame yet.
So we had big performances from Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook.
Huge
Russell Westbrook last night.
Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis has 94, 95 total points in the first two games, which is the most ever in the first two games since Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan had 92. So Anthony Davis got him by 3 points, so who's really better? But last night, Russell Westbrook dropped a triple-double, 51 points. First person ever for the home opener to drop a triple-double with more than 50 points. So I know this is super early, but really, really early. But let's have a little talk. Super early MVPs for the NBA.
Wow.
Super duper early MVPs.
I think there's three candidates you could just throw right out there: LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Russell Westbrook. I mean,
you don't think Anthony Davis is going to be in there?
Well, I'm just saying I think he would be. I mean, there's obviously if he keeps up this pace, then they might as well just at the end of the season just put him in the Hall of Fame. I mean, the guy almost had 50 points. He was almost the second or third player ever to have a, what do they call it, a 5 for 5?
Yeah.
50 points, more than 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 steals, and
5 blocks.
And 5 blocks in a game. That's just ridiculous.
The only problem with him being MVP is they're not going to be a top 3 team. So he can't really win MVP. They're not going to make the playoffs.
He's definitely going to win best player with a unibrow, though.
Of course. But the Pelicans are...
And again, what kind of name is that?
What?
The Pelicans. I mean, really. I mean, come on.
It's not very intimidating.
No. I've never seen a Pelican in person and, have a fight with one. Just saying, on the basketball court, I don't think they would give much of a fight.
So seeing as the NFL is halfway over, so is college football. We got some powerhouses in the nation right now. We only have really one, and that's Alabama. They don't lose.
Right. There's nobody better than Alabama right now.
Do you see anybody beating them?
And again, in a one and done format, when it comes to the playoff, it's possible. I mean, the team that I think has the best shot, and nobody's really talking about them. I mean, some people are talking about them. Everyone's talking about Clemson and Louisville. But I think the Washington Huskies could be the best team in the country.
You think they're the dark horse?
Yes. But they get the Pac-10. Everyone thinks the Pac-10 soft, so be interesting. I think that team is way better than people give it credit for. I know they're 4 in the polls now, but that team is as good as anybody. Again, I'm not sure. I think there's a gap between where Alabama is and then where everybody else is, but we'll see.
And more college football, Heisman race. Before we all know who's front runner right now, but let's talk about before the season started. Everybody was on Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey. We got Deshaun Watson. All those guys are on a list, but Lamar Jackson literally just took it from him, and nobody saw it coming. I'm not gonna lie to you, I had no idea who Lamar Jackson was before the season started, but I think everybody knows who he is now.
He's incredible. He's incredible.
Like I just said, Christian McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette. Deshaun Watson, you think they're gonna catch up?
No, I don't. I just think looking at the strength of schedule, I think Lamar Jackson's just going to keep putting up monster numbers. They're going to keep winning. I just don't see it happening. But again, winning the Heisman Trophy usually it doesn't bode too well for you at the next level. But I mean, in terms of that award this year, unless something drastic changes, Lamar Jackson's hands down winner. I mean, nobody else even just a waste of the trip.
What is he average, like 7 total touchdowns a game?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. I think he has more rushing yards than Leonard Fournette.
I think he has more rushing yards than 80% of the team's number one backs in major college football.
It's insane. He's unstoppable. Like Mike Vick said a couple weeks ago, he said he was better than him in high school or college. And I tell you what, he looks like the real deal. If he makes the NFL and does what Mike Vick did, not the dogfighting part, but if he does it and just comes in and just destroys defenses, he could be. I know it's way too early. He's still in college. He still has another year in Louisville, but he could be a serious NFL quarterback.
I think he needs to put on a little more weight, though. I think he's a little too slight to play at the next level the way he plays. So we'll see.
But it is way too early to say that.
Way too early.
Way too early. But this has been the very first episode of The Playbook, a sports talk show with Mark and Tyler. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you don't mind, leave a like and share. Peace.
See ya.